Hey everyone, I'm Ella. Today I'm doing a speed build. This time we're not doing a shell challenge. I've been doing a lot of shell challenges lately, but I'm actually building the Elfsong Tavern from Baldur's Gate. I've been playing that game for a couple of months now. I've only completed one playthrough, but I'm on my second one right now. And I just got to Act 3, so I got to Act 3 and I was wandering around and I found a tavern. I was like, oh, this place is so pretty. I remember thinking about it on my first playthrough, being like, wow, this would be really cool to kind of remake in The Sims somehow. But I was just like, no, I don't know how in the world I would do that. But I decided, you know what, I think I could do something with this castle kit, and maybe I could use some get together, maybe some horse ranch, and kind of make something representative of the tavern. Whenever I recreate things that I've seen and I'm just trying to make it look like it, I really try not to put too much pressure on making it look exactly, because it's really hard to do that. And part of the fun is just kind of seeing how you can make it look similar. I think it's really interesting when you have something kind of like inspired by it instead of an exact replica. So, you'll kind of add your own twist to it sometimes, but you also have like the elements that you really like about it, you'll just include, and it can just all come together and turn into something really interesting. And also it makes it a little bit less tense. I feel like a mistake I've made a lot when I do buildings and I try to recreate something I've seen in real life or in a different game or something, is that I put a lot of pressure on myself to make it as exact as possible. Like I'll like tell myself it needs to be like this, but that kind of takes the fun out of it. So I try not to do that, and I just kind of think that, okay, what do I really like about it? So let me see if I can recreate what I really like about it the most. And then what can I do with what I have within the Sims, And it can kind of come together and make something interesting, especially when you start adding your own kind of take to it. I do add my own take to it on the inside. But it's still got that old world, tavern, rustic kind of a look to it. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make that like a rooftop garden, I guess is what you would call it. I want to have like an attic and then a ladder going up to it. Doing the roofing in general is always my weakness, and I've gotten so frustrated with the roofing before that I've had to take a break from the game. But I'm trying to just kind of let's just do something with the roof. Let's see what it looks like. We'll come back to it if we don't like it. So I have this kind of the third floor. The roof doesn't go up all the way to that railing, so it looks a little bit odd, but I decided to just go with it. It's fine. I added some ivy to the wall to kind of make it look maybe a little bit less awkward, and hopefully it makes it look a little prettier too, instead of just seeing like these random bricks above a roof that might look a little bit more unusual. But yeah, my favorite things about the exterior of this build are definitely the rooftop garden and the entrance with those pillars and the ivy above it and the little balcony. It's really pretty. I do make a little version of the side entrance over here with the stairs kind of coming down, 2 stairs. It's way smaller, but I'm building on a 30 by 20 lot. If I had been building on a bigger lot, I probably could have done a little bit more. And I kind of wish I had, but I was just kind of I'm not really good at doing big builds. I mean, from my perspective, this is a very big build, so this was kind of out of my comfort zone already. So maybe one day I can kind of like rebuild and make it maybe a little bit more realistic, or not realistic, but close to the original version. That would be really fun. I don't include the basement in this build. It's just the first floor and the rooftop, because it's more like this is going to be a community lot, and my idea is that it's just kind of like a cool little lot that you can take your Sims to, that's like the Baldur's Gate Tavern, you know, just for fun. So it could either be a restaurant. I have it set to be a bar, but if you want it to be a restaurant, you can have you can add like a little host station, probably in the entrance over here, maybe on top of the stairs to the side, or it could also just be at the bottom of the stairs. And then a little, what is it, the waiter stations. There's definitely a lot of little nooks and corners that you can just like squeeze one into. And the kitchen is fully, it's got the stove, the chef station, I think is what it is. So it's pretty much ready to be a restaurant. I need to double check, but I think I have it set to be a bar, because it's whichever one is the one where you need to have a bar, but you also need to have either an instrument or a microphone. I want it to be that because I'm including the little comedian area, the comedy area, with a small stage. So I put a little microphone and an instrument in there too. So I think that's a bar. It might be a lounge. I always forget and mix them up. Okay, the roofing is so rough to watch. I'm not good at roofing, and I just do something and I go with it. I feel like it could have been better, but I didn't really experiment too much. I'm trying to experiment a little bit right now, and it's just like, okay, let's just scratch that. So I decided not to touch the roof anymore after that experimentation. I try not to do too much experimenting or too much like back and forth changing. I try to just kind of stick with whatever my gut feeling is. And then that doesn't mean I don't change anything, but I just kind of go with it, and then I try to leave it be. I'll come back to it after I've done some other building, or maybe if I take a break, or if I come back the next day, and then I'll have like, fresh eyes, and then I'll be able to look back at it. And sometimes I'm like, whoa, this was kind of a weird idea, and I'll just scratch it, take it off, and change it. But then sometimes there's things that I place and I'm like, wow, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. That kind of looks unusual, but I'm not sure what else I would do. And then I come back to it later, and I'm like, you know what, that looks pretty nice. I like that. I'm just gonna leave it. That is well, that's not exactly what happens here. I do that to the interior. Well, no, I don't come back with fresh eyes and like it. I start the interior, and then I come back like 4 days later, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not feeling this at all. And I totally delete everything in the interior and move everything around. I don't get too much started in the interior. I just kind of had like a rough draft going on, but you'll see, it's really fast. I like put some wallpaper and some floor, and then I put the stairs, and then I delete it, and then I do something over again. So it's nothing too crazy. I could tell while I was doing it that I just kind of wasn't really feeling it, so that's when I decided to take a break. But right now, it's still going. It's going all right. Just kind of creating some pathways right now. I do go and I change some things, but this is kind of like the pathways were just kind of like placeholders, just so we can have something there, and we kind of know something else is going to go there, because I don't like using the tiles as pathways from the town. I like to go and use the terrain tools and have the stone paths and whatnot kind of connected to the town. And by town, I just mean the area that's not a part of the lot. One thing though is I put this in Windenburg, but I don't really like the colors of the little town in Windenburg. It is like the same kind of old world vibes, but it's a lot of dark colors, and this I wanted it to be like in the game where it's kind of like tan, and I guess you would say tan. But Windenburg, this area has a lot of dark and like black and browns, which is nice, but it does kind of make the tavern stand out a little bit more. I just wanted to put it in the most appropriate looking place, and I was torn between this and Henford, sorry. And I decided to go with this one because I like the size of the slot. And I really like those style of buildings behind in the surrounding area. I feel like that looks a lot like some of the buildings that are in Baldur's Gate in the game. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm saying it wrong because it's kind of it feels like an unusual an unusual word to say, and I just in general say things wrong like all the time. I'm really bad about just like swapping out letters in words or combining words or just kind of getting a word stuck in my head and saying it the wrong way in my head and not even noticing it. But yeah, I'm on my second playthrough on Baldur's Gate, so I play very, very slowly. It's a game that I can only play at nighttime, so my kids don't like see anything too intense. So I have to play it in the evenings. And it's a good time. I really like it. I've never played any of the other games. It was actually my husband got this game for himself on the PlayStation for him to play. And I watched him play it for a little bit, and I was like, oh, I like this. This looks really cool. And then I started playing it. I basically took the whole game away from him. But to be fair, he was like losing interest in it. So, he was like, I don't feel like playing it right now. And I was like, oh, okay, I think maybe I'll go play it. And he's like, okay. And then before you know it, I just beat the whole game in like 2 weeks, which is really fast for me. But, yeah, I really like the tavern. I think it's so pretty. I really liked finding it. It was one of the first places that I went to in Act 3, so I went to it really early on. Just because I was like, oh, look, this is a really neat looking building. Oh, over here, I wanted to add some, because it looks like in the game that there's like some plants and like these trees. At least I think. I don't know if I'm confusing what's in the game with what I decided to do, because I just kind of changed things to make it look nice and whatnot, and just to kind of work with whatever I have available to me in the game. So I separate this little area. It does make the I don't want to say porch. What is this? This balcony? No, not balcony. This raised entrance area. It makes it a little bit smaller, which I kind of don't like because it leaves me like way less room to put anything. See, that's only like 2 tiles wide, and I think I would really like to make this on a bigger lot, make a bigger version. This was just a very intimidating build for me, because for me, this is a big build. Well, it's not... Well, I would say the 30 by 20 lot isn't a big lot itself, but I usually do like a lot of kind of like landscaping going on to kind of fill up the lot, and I'll have a smaller building on it. But this was just like a really big building, and there's not very much landscaping to do. But yeah, I'm doing the landscaping right now, actually. Try to add some of those very tall trees. I forget what they're called, because I feel like that's what I saw in the game. It just seemed like it worked best, and I'm changing the little pathway, trying to figure out what works best. I was originally focusing on maybe trying to make it flow with the rest of the world, but then I was like, you know what, this is just kind of, this is its own thing, so I might as well just kind of have it be its own thing. Don't really worry too much about it not flowing, because it's pretty unique. We just kind of have to accept that this is a unique kind of lot compared to the other things in the Sims world. I think this is mostly base game as far as the landscaping goes. With the ivies, it's like several different packs. I just try to use a little bit of everything so I can be sure that nothing looks identical, because I don't want it to be the same kind of ivy over and over and over. Which, I mean, it does repeat a lot, because that's just kind of how it is, especially when you're adding a lot to it. I just tried to mix it up and add as many different kinds as I could. Hopefully that worked out okay. It was really fun to build, so I really enjoyed having all those types of ivy climbing up on the walls and whatnot. I may have added a little bit too much. I catch myself doing that because I love buildings with the ivy and just like green and plants everywhere. I go really over the top on landscaping just because I like it so much. So if you like see this and you need to delete some of the plants, that is like 100% okay. I think this build will be fine with a fewer plants. We have a little bit of a little garden patch over here. Again, it's a smaller version compared to the game, so it's not nearly as grand, but it's pretty. It's something. It represents it. Yeah, adding lots of ivy. It does get to be really fun when you're adding the ivy, though. You just kind of get lost in it, and I just kind of keep getting more and more and placing it everywhere. But it looks so pretty. I just love it. I love it so much. That was one of the reasons that I really liked the tavern in the game, because I was like, oh, look, there's ivy. So, kind of probably a little bit of an unusual choice over here, but under the balcony for like the entranceway, I wanted it to look a little bit different. So I ended up going with the island living, like red stone, which I think it's a little bit like really bright, but at this point I'm thinking that, this is The Sims 4. Everything's very bright and colorful. We just kind of have to embrace that. I mean, you can make things a little bit like kind of gloomy and dark, but it's just never quite how you imagine it being. Oh, so over here, I'm trying to make the little post part of the railing to look a little bit different, because it doesn't look the same. It doesn't need to look exact, but there's something. I was thinking maybe I could give it just a little bit of extra detail. So I use these and I make the railing look a bit different. Just kind of, it looks bigger. And I think I think it helps it a little bit. So I add those around. And what are we doing here? We're almost done with the exterior. I think I add a little bit of lights. So I often make my builds like, especially like these kind of like the old world style. I try to stick to it being not like a modern build, but I do use some modern features, but like with moderation. So I do add some lights on the outside, but on the inside I only have candles everywhere. And then like the kitchen is obviously, that's modern. Well, you kind of have to, as far as the game mechanics go, you do need to have like a real chef station. There's not really a medieval kind of version of that. Though there might be mods for that. That would be really cool. But yeah, see, I have some lights. I remember this word. In my last speed build, I talked about it briefly. There's a word for it. It's when you use, you have like something set in the past, but you use elements from the present day in it too, and it can kind of be awkward, or it can be kind of cool. It kind of depends on personal preference, and I like to do stuff like that, especially within The Sims. I really like it. Plus, it makes it practical, and you're really limited on what you can do in The Sims. So it helps you kind of just make things work, you know. But there are mods to kind of do that without, not make it work, but to have actual objects that look like they belong in a different time. I don't really use mods that much. I have had mods before, and I do have mods in my game right now. But it's mostly CC, and I can like take it off. I'm one of those people that can go with or without. Some people like they get used to the mods, and it's like they need to have the mods to play the game. But I don't really need them. I like them, and I enjoy having them, but I might take them off for my next Let's Play series, just so I don't have to deal with it. But I like having them. Oh, I'm doing some of the extra landscaping. I'm doing a little look. Okay, I think I'm about to switch to the interior now. The exterior took a really long time. So I pretty much did, I did the structure and I did all of the little details before I moved to the interior. I remember because I was very intimidated by this interior. Like, I was really looking forward to it, but I gave myself a lot of high expectations for how this interior should be. And it was kind of overwhelming me a little bit. So this is before I change everything, but I kind of was going to do like the big stairs, and I ended up with this weird little spot in the corner. I thought maybe I'll just kind of make this into a bathroom. But then I didn't know what I was going to do with the platform, because I was using those platforms to make them like stairs, but they're really big, bulky stairs, and it just seemed awkward. I sectioned that area off. That's going to be the kitchen. So easy. And over here, I'm like, what am I doing again? Oh my goodness, I'm stalling, because I was also thinking, one thing I really like about the tavern in the game is all of the wooden beams everywhere and whatnot. And I think you could do that successfully in this game, but I got kind of like overwhelmed with it, and I don't really know how to do that very well. So I try to do it, but then it doesn't seem like it's working very well, and I just don't really like it. I do try to do like this lowered area, like in the game where the bar is kind of down here and you go down these steps, because I thought that was really cool. but I eventually scrapped that because as far as the game mechanics go, it seemed too crowded. So this is another reason why I really wish I had made it on a bigger lot, but maybe a different day, another day, I will redo this and make it just bigger and have more going on, because it was too crowded down there. And then also how to like connect it to the kitchen, I'd have to like add stairs to it somehow. It was never gonna work. This is me trying to see how I can make it look pretty. I kind of was getting focused on making it too similar to the game at this point, and it's just one of those things. I can't make anything too similar. You just gotta kind of get inspired by it and go with it. And because I like this building so much in the game, I was kind of getting caught up with trying to make it so much like it because I really loved it. But yeah, I really like this game. I'm kind of intimidated about talking about it too much because I know there's a lot of like lore behind it and a lot of information, and there's just people that have been big on this kind of like these kind of games for a long time. And I've always been like a sim person. This is my thing. I just play The Sims, but I also like games that are that kind of style too, and I'll play them every once in a while. That's how I ended up playing Baldur's Gate, 'cause it really interested me when I saw my husband playing it. But yeah, I don't really know very much about it. I just kind of dive into it. I'm on my second playthrough, but I'm still learning as I go. There's so many things that I don't understand, but it's a lot of fun. I like to play games like that. Like, I like to go in and have no idea what I'm doing, and I just kind of see what kind of adventure I can go on, or what kind of like, what kind of things I'll learn as I go. And I make lots of mistakes, and I'm not a good person to ask for help on this game, okay? I'm just someone that plays it. I play it on Explore. I haven't even gone to Balance yet. I'm on my second playthrough, and I just run around with my little warlock, and I'm just having a good time. Okay, so I'm going back over here. This is like 4 days later, and I'm like, you know what? No. I don't like this. I'm just gonna scrap all of this. And yeah, I moved the stairs, and I realized that's not working at all because that just goes up to a wall. And yeah, it comes out a lot better, and I do raise up that area instead of having it lowered. These lights that I'm putting, they're just kind of there temporarily so I can see the building, the inside a little bit better, so it's not so dark. I like to just grab those whenever I'm building because they're big and easy to like click on and they're pretty bright. I do decide to go with, I was considering the Love Struck bar, but I decide maybe just going full on rustic would be the better move. Out of all the bars that we have, it was either this one from the university pack or the one from the ranch. Wait, or is that the one from the ranch? I think I've mixed them up. But yeah, there were two I was trying to choose between. And I go on and add the little fireplace. Just because I thought it was really cool to have the fireplace outside. I know there's no tables or chairs near it, unfortunately, because that's just a little small spot. But I just thought that looked cool, having the fireplace over there. And this little area just becomes a bathroom. Pretty simple. Nothing too crazy. It's just, I think that's all base game. Just a little base game bathroom. And then over here we have the stage. I'm about to make the stage. This was a pretty simple little area. I just kind of used the I think it's to Get Famous. I mean, I think it's actually supposed to be like a stage. And then of course I put some chairs and a little table. It looks kind of like how it is in the game. I'm not 100% sure because I kind of did this based off of memory. I didn't like take pictures or have the game on and look because I didn't want that to make me feel like I needed it to be exact. I wanted to just remember the things I really liked about it and just kind of do what I remember, which will, of course, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but that will lead me to doing some things that are interesting or that I wouldn't have thought of if I was just like tunnel vision on making it exact, you know? I do feel like there were some chairs like behind a table and some kind of over in a corner. At least I think. This might be totally wrong. I might turn the game on later and be like, oh, wait, what was I doing? That's not at all what was in here. So I'm starting with the candles. I add those the nectar bottles. I add them all over the place in this build. Cause I think in Baldur's Gate and like in other games like Skyrim and whatnot, there's always just like bottles of wine and mead everywhere. So I did that in this build too. I think those bottles are from the kit. I think it's it's the newer one. The cafe kit. I can't remember. I always forget the names. But yeah, really cute kit. I love that kit. It's really good if you like to make community lots and restaurants and cafes. So yeah, as far as everything else, like the bar area, this ends up just being completely different. Because I just kind of focus on, you know, it's just gonna be rustic. And yeah, you know, just put the similar kind of furniture going on. I can't remember exactly what it's like in there, but I'm just going off of my memory and my just the kind of impression that it gave. So I do use only candles on the inside. I like to do that because it gives a very like warm, kind of cozy vibe too. So I'm gonna be adding lots of cameras, lots of candles. I hope I've been saying candles. I might have been saying camera the whole time. I had lots of candles. And that wallpaper, that's actually from City Living. One thing that I was kind of unsure about was the decorations and the clutter. I definitely struggle a lot with clutter. I try to go out of my way to make things a bit more cluttered. But especially with big builds like this, there'll be like a little bit less clutter. Like I'm adding some crates and whatnot outside too. Just to make it look, you know, make it look like stuff is going on in here. So it's like make it look more alive. I had to use those tables. I love those tables. Those are from Jungle Adventure and I just adore those tables. Those swatches are so pretty. So I think I had another fireplace over here. No, it's just a couch. But yeah, this is where I have those chimneys. I have like 3 chimneys going on, but the fireplaces end up not even being where the chimneys are. I think one of them, the one outside, has like a chimney near it. But the other chimneys are just like, they're just like kind of weird blocks of wall that have no fireplace. So that is a little bit unusual, but I think it works out okay. And these torches, they're so pretty. Oh, and on the outside I add the giant torches. What would you call those? Anyways, they look medieval and they look cool and they give a really nice glow outside. So I'm working on the kitchen now. Give it some stone walls. Trying to make it look as old world as possible. But of course, it's The Sims, so I end up using the chef station, so that looks a little bit unusual. But yeah, you can definitely make this into a restaurant. I don't include the host station, but if you add that and the waiter station, you'll be set. I didn't include it because I didn't want it to get in the way, especially when it's not going to be used as a restaurant, because I'm kind of imagining this being a bar. At least whenever I put this in my game, I think I'd probably want it to just be a bar. There's not really a whole lot of tables, and I think the golden number for tables and for a restaurant in The Sims 4 is probably like 4 or 5. You know, that way everyone kind of rotates through pretty quickly, but there's not an overwhelming amount of tables and chairs to kind of make the game lag. Oh, here's something I never realized. I had no idea. You can put things on the little shelves on this counter. I had no idea you could do that. So I added some dishes and some books and just added a few things to that. I feel so silly for not knowing that, because I mean, obviously it's so obvious. That is a shelf. That is a shelf in that little island, and I had no idea you could do that. But yeah, I think this can work as a restaurant. I think it would work just fine. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3 tables, and I think I put a picnic table outside. I'm not sure if they would. No, I think they would consider that to be a table as part of the restaurant. And up here, I do add some rooms. So in the game, it's also like an inn. Or I guess, is that what like a tavern would normally be? It would always have like a bar and rooms available. I'm not even 100% sure. But anyways, I had some rooms. I only had 2, and they both just have 1 double bed. So it's not like there's gonna be 10 beds in one room, which would have been kind of cool to have made like a single room with multiple beds in it, because I think that would also be appropriate for the time. Because there would probably be like one room that's really nice, and it's got that single bed, and it's got all the wardrobes and the tables and whatnot. But then there's probably another room that's a little bit, it might be like smaller, maybe the same size, but there will be multiple beds. And when you're renting to have a bed instead of the whole room, and you're probably like in there with strangers, and maybe people would have like hammocks and stuff, and I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's kind of something I was thinking about. But and just keep it simple. Have 2 rooms. Maybe you could pretend to be staying at a hotel, because we do not have hotels, but that would be so cool if we did. So upstairs, I don't have any tables. I just kind of have some chairs. I think I have some games. Oh yeah, there's a game table. Just some more things for your Sims to do besides just kind of hang out at the bar. They can come over here upstairs. So those stairs lead up to the attic, which leads to that ladder that takes you up to the rooftop. There's not really anything going on up there. It's just kind of like an area you pass through to get to the outside. I didn't want to go too crazy with the art because I wanted it to be not too modern. I wanted it to feel older. So I was trying to be really careful, but I wanted to add some things for fun. So there are some paintings that might not be exactly what you'd imagine, but they kind of spruce up the place to make it look nice. So I think I switched it to lounge. Yeah, it was a lounge, not a bar. Okay, I've been saying bar this whole time, but this place becomes a lounge. That's why you have the microphone and the musical instrument. And yeah, I do have to add a stereo, but I think I add something that's not like new and shiny. It's one of the older looking ones, not exactly appropriate for the time that this like tavern is set in the game, but you know, it's something it's something that's not too out there. It looks like it blends in pretty well. I don't remember what it is because it's not something that I use too often. Yeah, I use a lot of jungle adventure. I'm noticing that. I really love the jungle adventure, like the wood and the wood colors. But yeah, it's coming along. This was so much fun to build. Well, after I took that break for a few days, I came back and I was just like, you know what, I'm ready. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna see what happens. I really wanted to emphasize like functionality, so that did make it a little bit more limiting on what I can do, but that also just made it, I justified it to myself that, you know, this doesn't need to be a perfect copy because it also needs to be functional. It needs to fit with the game mechanics, so it's, you know, so people can play in it and they can literally use it as a lounge, and they can have their Sims have fun here and whatnot. Okay, I was so tempted to use that bed, but it felt like it was too much. I think this tavern is, I think it's nice, but it's not the nicest. You know, this isn't the fancy place to go. This is probably a good place to go. Honestly, it's probably more of a place to go and have drinks and listen to music, and people are probably a little bit more rowdy downstairs. At least that's kind of the impression that I got. Yeah, I think the rooms were a little bit, I struggled more with the rooms, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. I was just like, you know, the rooms are here in case you need them, but the main features and the main things I like about this place were what I was really emphasizing on. Of course, I wanted it to be as, you know, appropriate and as like the kind of flow with the rest of it too. So that's kind of what I focused on, making sure it flowed and that there wasn't anything crazy, that there's not like a big modern bed or anything contemporary going on. So this room ends up being a little bit nicer because it is bigger. I was considering putting multiple beds in this room, but I decided against it. Maybe it would just be simple to have a single bed, and maybe this room can be like a little bit nicer, a little more spacious. That couch, I've been meaning to use that couch. I love that couch, but I haven't used it in anything yet. It's the one from the... Oh my goodness, it's totally slipping my mind. It's a newer pack. Is it a stuff pack? No, I don't think it's a stuff pack. It's the one that gives you jewelry making. Oh my goodness, there's so many, it's kind of hard to keep up with. I have all of the packs. I'm really grateful to have all of the packs. I've been playing this game since it came out, so I've been building up my pack collection for a very long time. And yeah, as of today when I'm recording this, it's actually the 10-year anniversary for The Sims 4, which is incredible. I mean, there's no way I would have thought that The Sims 4 would still be a thing in 10 years. I mean, I thought maybe we would have moved on to like The Sims 5, or maybe there'd be like a different version of The Sims or something. I've played all the previous games, and they've never lasted this long, I don't think. I mean, the lifespan of the other games are a lot shorter than this game. And not only is this game still playing and it's like, you know, an active game people play, but they're still making packs for it. So it's you know, it's alive and well. Which I'm happy about it, because I really love this game. It's actually at a point with this game where it's like, it's kind of nostalgic for me while also being familiar, because I play it so often. But I started playing The Sims 4 right when it came out, and I was like 15, so I remember being like a 15-year-old kid coming home from school and playing The Sims. This was actually, I got this game when I was 15, and I was only allowed to have the computer on the kitchen table, and I was only allowed to play for an hour a day. Which is like crazy looking back now, because oh my goodness, if I get on this computer, it's probably gonna be, I mean, I'm limited on like the times that I can, but I'll probably be on for like 2 hours or something at least, you know. It's just funny to think that I spent my whole, up until I was like 16, only being allowed to be on the computer for like an hour every single day. Well, not every single day, but you know. Well, but I mean, I only got an hour. Because actually, I wasn't really playing on my computer every single day when I was a teenager. I also had things like, I had like a PlayStation 2. Oh my goodness. I'm getting so distracted talking about games of the past. Oh, I do something a little bit different over here in that little comedian room. I got 2 rugs that looked old and worn out, and I put one down, and I got a second one, and I like put it on top of it and like turned it a little bit. That might not seem like a big deal, but for me, I was like, oh, this is a good idea. This is something I've never done before. If I just kind of turn the rug a little bit. Yeah, I'm doing the rugs right now, trying to figure out what to do, because I want it to look old and kind of worn out, and I don't want it to be too perfect. It seems like everything in The Sims 4 wants to look perfect, which is it's nice in a lot of situations, but in a lot of these builds that I do, I really want things to look like, you know, flawed and just older. I do put some fireplaces up here. We've got a nice little bench and a few chairs. It's pretty crowded up here because it's a very small area, but I really like this spot, and I really liked it in the game, so it was really important to me that I tried to recreate it as much as I could. This would be a very like romantic spot for 2 Sims to go. We can go up here and sit down at the bench and look at the stars. I didn't really think about this, but those plants are up so high. I hope that's not like, I mean, the game won't do this, but it seems like in real life those plants can maybe catch on fire. I don't know. If like sparks came up or something. In real life, I would not put those plants beside that gigantic torch. I'm adding wine bottles everywhere. It just seems appropriate in this kind of a build. Yeah, that area, I just took that completely out. So we end up with two chimneys, but I think only one has a fireplace. And even then, I think it's a little bit awful. off. And up here, this is another area to set down. So those nectar bottles, I don't think they're actually functional. I think they're just decorations. And I really wanted some tables over here. I decided to go with picnic tables because I think it's what was kind of in the game. And then up just being one because two was too much. But I do find this one with the umbrella on top of it. It's very cute. And yeah, unfortunately, because of the size of this build, there wasn't enough room to add too much on the outside. But we got a little bench over here, so there's a place to sit down, and that spruces it up a little bit more. But yeah, it's all coming together. This was a lot of fun to build. It was a good challenge for me. I don't normally do things so big, and trying to make it look like something else that I really like was interesting. It kind of comes off as, I was saying this earlier, it's like it reminds me of kind of like in Disney World, how you have like these fairy tale buildings, but they're not going for realism, they're going for fun and bright and happy. It kind of comes off like that, so it's not really giving off the same kind of vibes or aesthetic or whatever. It's kind of like something neater and fun. This would be good in like a theme park. But it's definitely a interesting place to take your Sims instead of just an ordinary bar. Come over here and have a tavern kind of environment to be in. So here it is. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I hope you have an enchanting rest of your day. Bye.